just so it helps me rather than just sitting in Wellington trying to think through, the policy or the process we're trying to design, actually to have real people in your head. I've just come from meeting families this morning and then doing some media and then doing some more family meets just now, literally just come from an apartment where I met families in an apartment. And, there's one or two things that they say that you just stick in your mind and go, we can help with that. We can do something about that. And so I've been so impressed by how everyone has worked together. And iwi have been a critical part in the conversations about how we do response and recovery and need to be at the table going forward big time. And we've made sure that that's the case, that will happen. But there's just the ways everyone's worked together, the communities come together, central government, local government, the mayors, the ministers, the agencies, the non-profits, the iwi, the marae, surf lifesaving clubs, locals, the way the communities put food together, supported care packages. Last night I had a huge privilege of I'd read about it on social media, I was sitting in my office at home in Auckland, and I said to Mark, mate, I think we should just go. And if we don't have media there, we can just sit and talk to people, and it'll be quite nice. And for us to process and reflect as well with them. And what this mount means to people is really important. It's a place of great joy, a place of incredible well-being. And yet there's tremendous sadness and a somberness that's there right now from everyone in this community, not just the people who are directly impacted. I'm a big believer, always have been, of you've got to go to the front lines and see it for yourself so that when you go back, you have these people in your head that you can think through, how do I help them?
And no doubt people like Uncle Mane and the community of the Mount, Tauranga wide appreciate that you've turned up. What we are seeing, though, is racist rhetoric targeted towards iwi because there is a co-management arrangement in terms of mobile. What do you have to say to some of, I don't know if you've read it, but there is some extremely racist kōrero.
I'm aware there's a lot of misinformation and stuff going on out there. There always is in circumstances like this. And that's why, we want to come and just make sure everyone understands for here right now. We are doing everything we can in a recovery mode to make sure that we recover 6 people that a lot of families are waiting to see and to have that issue resolved for them. There will be plenty of time for us to have a proper process and proper questions about a bunch of things, but right here, right now, we need to stay together and support each other and come together in unity, which is what this community has done by the vast majority exceptionally well. And the people on the margins with their rhetoric, they just need to, frankly, keep it to themselves and focus on doing everything they can to support this community at this time.
Just lastly, before my peers jump in here, have you spent time here in the Mount? It's quite a popular place, I'm sure you...
Yeah, I've been in and out of here a little bit. Obviously, I had time as a little boy up in Auckland, and I remember coming through here with a camper van with Mum and Dad, a little pop-up caravan that we had on the back of a trailer, and staying in and around the area. But in this place I've visited with my work and different things over time. But it's a magical place. And I don't think anyone in this community, when I spoke to folk last night, take this for granted. They always say, I'm having a tough time with a partner or a child or a difficult situation I'm trying to process. I need to get out and walk that mountain. And I need to get refueled and regrounded and grounded into and get some perspective. And that's been, a number of people played that back to me, as that's what it means to them. And they're eternally grateful for it. They don't take it for granted. And I think that's why it's such an abruption and such a shock to people, because it means a lot to everybody in this community, from Māori, non-Māori, all walks of life, and that's what unites us and brings us all together.
And Prime Minister, as you've been talking to people not just here but in other affected areas, what's the level of apprehension you're hearing from people about the impact of these big weather events that seem to roll around every few years and seem to hit the same parts of the country again and again?
Yeah, look, Mark and I have spent a lot of time, we've visited all the 5 regions that have had states of local emergencies still there. And each region actually has a different set of challenges. Some of it is about isolated communities, particularly State Highway 35, particularly up north with Ngāti But going on marae there and seeing what we're doing on the ground and how we're working together has been really, really impactful. Mark and I, initially, we need to make sure everyone stays very, very focused and all our energy and resources is on the response. And then we move to recovery phase. And so we'll have our conversations in Cabinet tomorrow. But our reassurance to everybody has been, look, we're a government here that wants to help. We will help, and we need, but we need the assessments to come back to us really quickly. And in fairness, while we've got response going on, it's really unfair to ask a region, it can say, what else do you need? Because they don't know what they need at this point. And so, but we've spoken to all the mayors multiple times. We have very dynamic relationships. They all have our numbers. We talk very dynamically with everybody, and we will hold together a plan and a support package. But we have incredible weather events and natural disasters that hit this country. We've got to control what we can control. What we can control is our response to these events and our recovery from these events, and ultimately how we build more resilience into our core infrastructure is also what we've been doing. So when you see something like a Hawke's Bay Expressway rebuild, that road is being built to withstand twice the level of flooding of the previous road. When you look at what we did with State Highway 25 on the Coromandel, that piece of roading actually came through this environment, quite in good shape, which is great. So, there's some big questions that we've got to do about risk management, around adaptation. We'll have a national flood plan in place by the end of this year. We're building more resilient roads and infrastructure. But equally, Mark's done an exceptionally good job, frankly. He goes to all these events before they take off. He was here on the ground in Tauranga before the slip happened, and when it happened. And, he's done an exceptionally good job of joining local and central government up. He does an after-action review. And we've now gone through, sadly, some events that happened exactly the same 5 years earlier, Dunedin floods, Christchurch, Port Hills fires, and the response has got better and better every time. So we'll continue to invest in continuous improvement in our response. We'll deal with some of the longer-term risk adaptation issues that we need to deal with into an adaptation plan for the country. And that's complex work, it's hard work, but we are wanting to do that in a bipartisan way with all the political parties on board. And we want to do it with all the different
What's been the buy-in to that from the other parties?
Very positive, very positive. Because this is a New Zealand issue, it's not a political issue. This is not politics. This is about New Zealand. And
the gap between these big events seems to be getting shorter, so the time to respond is shorter. Is that part of your overall thinking?
Well, we can't control the events. We can do what we can to make sure we're delivering on our climate change commitments, because there's no doubt about it. Climate change is driving more of these extreme weather events. But equally, we've got to build out an adaptation litigation plan. We've got to make sure we're clear about where flood risk sits. We've got to be able to inform New Zealanders. We've got to have good responses. I think New Zealanders, in our understanding, they need to be prepared. There's things that you can do individually as a family to have your go pack ready to go with your emergency supplies, and make sure that you're as prepared as you can be to look after yourself and your family as well.
Sorry guys, wait, can we just take one more?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you. Prime Minister, thank you. The government wound up the last government's $6 billion resilience fund.
Yep.
Returned $3.2 billion back to the centre. Do you stand by that decision?
Yeah, we do, because the previous government had a lot of funds with very poor criteria around each of those funds. What we've done is we're spending the money, but we're putting it through the normal budget processes, which is entirely appropriate from a financial control point of view. In our first budget, we spent over $1 billion just in resilience funding in our first budget alone. We spent $200 million on flood mitigation as well in our budgets as well. So it's just a process issue. The money's getting spent, but it's just having it all parked off in lots of different funds isn't the way to deal with it. We want to be able to run a normal, good budget process so that we can actually make sure the money's not just a marketing exercise where we say we've got a fund for resilience and then the money's not spent, or the money it's given the right way building resilience. We actually want to make sure that we run it through proper checks and balances. So that's all we've done.